The Mid-Sodor Railway, Season 3, Episode 19. The end. It was a day after that Crimson had gone missing. The engines were worrying about what had been happening. Well, said Atlas, we as mine engines can't be any help. We were stuck in our mines for a couple of days, said Atlas. So catch us up on what's happened, said Atlas. Well, said Duke. Let's see. Well, Tim got crashed by Stuart, both are now out of order. Bertram and Cora were crashed by Jennings, who all three of them are out of order now, and Crimson is gone missing, and Falcon crashed into the back of the sheds, basically leaving a hole there, and now we don't, and we're still trying to find out if it was actually Jerry that did it or not, so he's not gone now, said Duke. Oh, said Atlas. This is just nonsense, said Alfred. How can you run a railway when someone's trying to destroy it? Just because you don't have a hole at the back of your shed like me, said Smudger. Okay, said Alfred. I suppose that does give an upside to it, said Alfred. I think it's actually Albert. He's been very quiet about this, said Duke. Not Albert, he's simply just a rude engine, not a villain, said Jason. And, said Jim, he wouldn't have the firebox to hurt an engine. He would only have the firebox to hurt their feelings, said Jim. If anything, Stanley seems the most likely suspect. Wait, said Smudger, it actually has to be him. Otherwise, if Albert can't be him, then it has to be Stanley. He's the second most likely engine, said Smudger. What? Said Stanley. It is not me. If it was me, then you would have caught me by now. I would have derailed out a lot of those scenes, said Stanley. That gives a good point, Stanley. But what if you're... But it seems highly unlikely you derail at those scenes. You just lie about your gauge and crash on purpose to make the railway close, said Smudger. Who even said that? I don't do that. This is my gauge, said Stanley. Yes, it has to be Stanley, said Jerry. Calm down, said Duke. It can't be Stanley. We would have caught him already. He has a point, said Duke. Okay, said Smudger. But then who is it? Said Smudger. I don't know, said Duke. All I do know is that whoever it is, they are doing well disguised. I have a feeling he's right here. Right now, said Duke. Then Albert came steaming up to the sheds. No one liked Albert, but in these times, the engines had to work together to find out who the villain was. Hello all, said Albert. Hello, they all said. Found out who's the villain yet, he said. No, we're still trying to figure it out, said Duke. But we know it can't be you or Stanley. Neither of you have the most likeliness, said Duke. Then the engines heard whistle signals from an engine. They knew it couldn't be an engine that was here, because it sounded as if it was far away in the distance. And they just thought they were hearing a whistle from another train that was not on their railway. However, it was coming from their railway. Anyway, said Duke, we better get back to work. The faster we can get our jobs done, the better, said Duke. Yes, said Smudger. I am not wanting to get my my black wheels take ripped away from me just so I can close the railway, said Smidger. Neither do I, said Jerry. Working groups, said Duke. Everyone will be having to work near me, unless you feel like you don't need to work in a group. Then you have freedom to do what you want. But if you want to feel safe, then you have to be in my group, then. Because you're probably going to be the safest. Because we'd catch the villain, said Duke. They don't suspect me now, thought Albert. Now I can fully begin to my plan to begin the strike, he thought. Duke, said Albert. Yes, Albert, said Duke. I feel like I can work on my own, he said. Okay, said Duke. And then Albert seemed away to do his jobs. And that's what the engines thought. Don't worry, said Albert. I'll be taking good care of you. Do not worry, he said. So it was you this entire time. Why did we get our suspects low on you, Albert? Said Duke. Bother, you've blown my cover, Duke, said Albert. I thought this would be an opportunity, he said. Well, it isn't, said Duke. I'll be telling Jules and Edwards about this, he said. Well, you won't. Well, you won't be able to tell him about that, said Albert. Why? Asked Duke. Because Crimson will be going sky high soon, and then you won't be able to tell him because he'll be quite sad after he's gone sky high, said Albert. Wait, don't do that, Albert, said Duke. Oh, I will if I have to close down the railway, he said. You blow up parts of the rails, the shed, and take Crimson to the moon, said Albert. Well, you're not taking him to the moon by making him explode up there. We'll stop you if we have to, he said Duke. Ha ha, laughed Albert. Well, catch me, he said, and he slowly began to move. Engines, give chase, said Duke. They began to move. Well, we're really slow, aren't we? Just for the sake of realism in this video, said Albert. Yes, we are, Albert, said Duke. Even if you did go out of script then, said Duke. Sorry, said Albert. Sorry, Mr. Creator, said Albert. It's okay. Now, said Albert, we'll have our speed again in 3, 2, 1. Out of script, Albert. Sorry. You won't catch me. And Albert raced away. Duke and the others gave chase. We'll get you, Albert, said Duke. He raced along the line, catching up to Albert. We'll get you if it's the last thing we do, and we will stop you from blowing up Crimson, said Duke. You won't blow up the engine that started this railway, said Stanley. You won't even blow up us, he said, because you are the useless engine of the railway, he said. We are the prize of this railway, and we'll keep that title forever, said Smidger. Now the engines were just saying random things to taunt Albert. They ran out of ideas on how to taunt him. You won't scrap this railway's origins, he said Jerry, as he raced up to catch up with Albert. Mine engines, we gotta hurry and save Crimson, and stop Albert from saying the certain words to begin those things to make him go sky high, says Alfred. The mine engines always worked as a team. Right on you, says Atlas. He raced along the line and was determined to save Crimson. His face was going as red as Crimson himself. We'll save you, Crimson, after we stop Albert, said Atlas. Yes, Crimson, we'll be able to save you once we stop Albert, said Jason. But, said Crimson, no buts, no talking, let us do the work, said Jason. Because we can handle it, said Jason. Right, we'll stop you, Albert, and no words, Crimson, because we'll stop Albert before you can get blown up, said Jim. And he raced along the line, catching up to Albert and the others. This you won't get rid of, Crimson, Albert, said Jim. And then John was the last engine to chase after. Don't worry, Crimson, we'll handle this, he said. But he could still activate the bombs with him being away from me, said Crimson. It's the end for Crimson, my friend, said Albert, and he raced along the line. He knew where he was going. He had memorised the railway enough to know where every single thing would be. Aha, he laughed. Now the railway is mine, he said. No, it is not, said Duke, and raced along the line. It is still our railway, and it always will be, he said, because the history of the Mid-Sodor will always lie in me and Crimson, he said. That's what you think, said Albert. Wait for me, said John. He was racing down the line as fast as he could. And then there was trouble. He was racing to the shed. Oh no, he said, and went through the hole. You okay? Asked his driver. Yes, I am. Bother, he said. Laughed Albert. You're now losing your line up, he said, and he races down the line as fast as he could. Soon you would have caused the railway to close by yourself, and then I can roll the railway, he said, and be the new railway controller. And that's how it always should have been, he said, and was racing down the line as fast as he could. That's what you think, said Duke, and he raced after Albert. After all this time, he knew now who the second villain after Diesel 12 would be. Now, Albert, we have unfinished business with you, said Duke, and he raced ahead to Albert. You're good at catching up at me, said Albert. I am too good, said Duke. Jim was racing down the line to catch up with his friends. I'll have to help stop Albert if it's the last thing I do, he thought. I have to help the engines. If they don't have help. He was about to think more when all of a sudden, Brother, he said, I bring a whole new meaning to the horse and cart. Don't worry, Duke, your railway will close in time, he said Albert as he was racing down the line. That's what you think, said Duke, as he was quickly catching up. Oh, you know how to catch up to me all too well, said Albert. I am a fast learner, said Duke. Stanley, Smudger, catch up, said Duke. We trying, they said. The wheels whirred, and then... Go on without us, Duke, they both said. Right, said Duke. We can't afford another derailment, he said. Now, Duke, said Albert, your road ends here. And he raced ahead. Your railway ends here. Your line ends here. Your friends will ends on here on the railway as well. Everything you have ever known will end here, said Albert. No, said Gertrude and Millicent. Yes, said Albert, in a menacing tone. I will not end here, said Duke. Nothing will. My line won't end here. My friends won't end here. And most certainly, most definitely, said Duke. Nothing will end on my railway. And that is fact, said Duke. Good, said Gertrude. Get him, said Millicent. Good motivation, they both said. Thank you, Gertrude and Millicent, said Duke. You're just down to 4 engines left, Duke. If they derail, then you are alone, said Albert. You truly are losing this chase, he said. I may be losing to speed, but you're losing to help, said Albert. And you will always have that as your disadvantage, he said as he raced into the tunnel and popped out. There is one thing you forget, though, Albert, said Duke. The engines that crashed are coming out of the works soon, so I am not alone, said Duke. That's what you think, said Albert. You'll be plunged into the water before the engines can get here. And then Albert laughed. Come on, Atlas and Alfred, said Jerry. We gotta catch up to Duke. He needs us. And Jerry raced after Duke. Don't worry, Duke. We're coming, said Jerry. We know you need the help. You really think a tender engine and a green tank engine would stop me? I've handled so many of you already, and they've all derailed for being arrogant, said Albert, and he laughed again. That's what you think, said Duke. Come on, miners, said Alfred, we gotta catch up, and he raced along the line. But when he came to the point, it was too late. All 3 of the engines derailed because the point switched on them. Hurry, Duke, said Alfred. Otherwise you'll lose this battle against Albert, said Jason. He knows how it's going to end, so you got to change how he thinks it will end, said Atlas. So, Duke, tell me, you really think you and a green little frog can stop a big saddle, you could say like a big blue tank engine like me, said Albert. Yes, I do, Albert. You've caused nothing but trouble ever since you arrived, said Duke. Jerry's face was beginning to go red. He could not keep up with the tremendous speed the engines were pulling on. Duke, I can't keep up with how fast you both are going, said Jerry. Right, Jerry. Then try and keep up as much as you can. But you might derail on these curves. They'll get tighter, Jerry. You've got to be careful, said Duke. Right, said Jerry. Albert raced along the line. Well, if you think Bertram's minds were enough. How about some tight curves over at Olstead Road, said Albert. If that does not crush one of you, I know the perfect derailment for one of you, and it will be sure to get any of you out. Albert raced along to the mountain road. Duke knew what he was going to get into if he attempted to follow Albert along it. I'm not falling into your mountain roads tricks, said Duke. But he knew if he was going to stop Albert, he had to follow him. But you have to follow me if you want to stop me, said Albert. I know that, said Duke. So, while racing down the line at a dangerous speed for the railway, he was carefully taking the turns, going as slow as he could while being able to keep up with Albert. Impressive, said Albert. Your speed and arrogance is really helping you get around these curves, said Albert. That makes no sense, Albert, said Duke. Then Jerry was racing along the line, trying to keep up. His face was as red as an apple. He was panting as really hard. I can't keep up with you both, said Jerry. Jerry, your face is red as an apple. You really got to stop trying to keep up with us, said Duke. But I have to help you stop Albert, said Jerry. Good point, said Duke. Bye-bye, you both, said Albert, and he raced even more across the line, and was approaching a curve, which at his speed seemed impossible to take, but he took it with ease, and carried on like nothing was happening. If this is truly your end of your line, Duke, said Albert, then remember it was a good end, and he grinned in evilness. Hurry, Jerry, said Duke, and Duke was racing along the line as fast as he could. He knew that only him, Jerry, and Crimson were left for the line. If Jerry crashed, only him and Crimson would be left at the time, and he knew if Crimson was Saint Sky Eye, well, he knew that he'd be the only engine left being able to stop Albert on the railway for the time. Right, Albert, time to sort some unfinished business with you, said Duke. Then Jerry was racing along the line as fast as his little wheels could carry him. He took the first turn with ease, and then the second turn, well, you probably know the drill by now. What? Ow, said Jerry. At least I landed on my wheels, and that I can cool off now, he said. Well, Duke, it seems your noble end is coming to here, said Albert, as they exited the mountain road and pulled back up to Gordon Edwards Station. That was a nice trip around the railway, wasn't it, Duke? Said Albert. Nothing's nice with you around here anymore, said Duke, and he steamed along the tracks. He saw Albert had came to a stop, but then Duke came to a stop in front of him. Now, Albert, I know what you're going to do. Don't do it, said Duke. Ooh, said Albert. But I'm afraid I'm not the engine you thought I was, he said. Deactivate! Then the people walked away from Crimson. It was Proteus who had stopped Crimson from going sky high. Proteus, said Albert. Albert, said Proteus. I always knew you would try to stop these plans one day, said Albert. And I successfully stopped them this time, said Proteus. What do you mean, this time, said Duke. I was blowing out whistle signals to you earlier, said Proteus. If only you listened to them, you would have heard the whistle signals saying that it was Albert who's the villain, said Proteus. Oh, said Duke. So that's why those whistle signals were important. I thought they were, said Crimson. Well, said Albert, I'll be on my way out now. He was beginning to walk away when he heard a voice from behind him. Said the voice. Albert steamed over to the platform. He looked behind him and saw Jordan Edwards walking along the track. There was a lot of things going on in one go then. Albert, said Jordan Edwards. Now, I am very disappointed on what you've done, Albert, said Jordan Edwards. I would have expected better from an engine that's been around with my father since he was alive, said Jordan Edwards. Yes, he never told me you were villainous, said Jordan Edwards. What? I was never villainous until, like, recently, you could say, said Albert. Silence, said Jordan Edwards. For this, Albert, I'll be sending you over to the... You'll be getting what you deserve, said Proteus. Which is what, said Albert. You'll be sent to the scrapyard, Albert. Never to return to this railway again, said Jordan Edwards. And then some of your parts will be saved and used to repair the other engines, said Jordan Edwards. The engines looked at Albert. This will not be the last you see of me. I am Albert. I am the tram of the... I think he got what he deserved in the end, said Duke. So do I, said Crimson. He had it coming. I'm just glad that we can at least tell that Falcon that, well, he might not have a brother on the railway anymore. At least he has a true friends. He has at least true friends, said Proteus. Yes, I suppose you're right, said Duke. I'm glad they kept some of his parts, though. Like, some parts they are still planning to take off him, but other than that, we basically just got 3 parts that just need to get a bit refurbished, said Duke. Then Jordan Edwards came to Duke. Hello, sir, said Duke. Hello, said Jordan Edwards. I need you, Duke, to take Albert away to the scrapyard to get him melted down, said Jordan Edwards. Okay, said Duke. And he steamed away to get a flatbed. As for you, Crimson, can you stay on the railway for a little bit? Because, you see, we need as many engines as we can right now, since it's just you and Duke that are part of the railway, that are actually alive. So, yeah, said Jordan Edwards. Yes, I will help if my controller will let me, said Crimson. Don't worry, your controller has allowed you, so you will be allowed to work here until you're no longer needed on the railway, said Jordan Edwards. Okay, said Crimson. What about me and the other engines, said John. Oh dear, said Crimson. Now I have another job for Duke to do. No, Crimson, Proteus and Jordan Edwards laughed. Soon they did get Albert away from the sheds and the engines re-railed. Oh, and yes, Farmer Elm did fix his fence. And soon Stuart, Falcon, Jennings, Bertram and Tim, the engines that had crashed, arrived back from the works. It was thankful that they had not been scrapped yet or had been quickly repaired. When they returned, Falcon said, "This feels exactly like how the railway was when it was in its early conditions," said Falcon. "Say, what happens to Albert?" said Falcon. Crimson explained what happened, and while Falcon was a little sad, he was pretty glad as well with how rude he was. "Well, he had it coming," said Falcon. "Yes, he did," said Crimson. Soon the other engines from today's incidents would arrive back, but that wouldn't be until Christmas time. And that's a story for the 25th of December this year. Hello YouTube, GreatRJ1 here. That's the end of the Albert arc. So, yeah. Now, I really was having trouble thinking of names for the episodes. Like, there were really not many... there was not really any thrilling ones that could really just... that doesn't seem like it would be obvious on how it would end up. So that's why we have the attack, the end, and the plan, because really they reveal nothing of the plot really too much, but they also just make you think which way it's going to go. As if I was going to do the chase or the final chase, it would be pretty obvious that how it would probably go, but still. Hope you guys enjoyed this Albert arc. I will be releasing on the 25th of not of October, of December, the Christmas special. So the Christmas special will be a Mid-Sodor Railway episode and the last episode of season 3. Then what will happen is the next Mid-Sodor movie. Then we can get into season 4, and yeah, it'll be pretty much just a next season after that. Well, it will be a new season after season 3. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.